did. Thank you, Gunny. He said, I told you I'd keep it short. I looked over his shoulder. He had this long, bio. I said, it's in the program. It said, look, I've had the privilege. I wasn't born or raised into privilege, but I've had the privilege to serve our nation, our country, and our state in many ways. And I was just so glad that you didn't run through that list of service. It's been an honor. But today's a great day. And it's a great day for me, and I hope that you're having a wonderful day. It's always a great day for me when I can be with veterans, I can speak with veterans, and I can talk about veterans and our service. And today I get to do all three. So I hope you're having a wonderful day just like I am. And a beautiful day, a beautiful sunny day here in Annapolis. So good morning to each and every one of you. I'm Anthony Brown, and I'm your 47th Attorney General. And what a privilege it is to be able to serve you in that capacity. I want to start by thanking Commander Jones and all the members of Post 141 for what you do, again, demonstrating that veterans, when we take off the uniform, continue to serve veterans. So, Gunny, thank you for your leadership and your team. To President Alsop and the auxiliary, thank you for what you do, supporting Post 141, being a part of it, and really representing that it's a family affair. When you go into military service, it's about the men and women who put on the uniform, and it's about our families that support us so that we can serve our nation in the way that we do, because we do it as a family. I want to thank County Executive Pittman, who's been an extraordinary champion for veterans here in Anne Arundel County. I want to thank Senator Elfreth, working with Governor Moore and the General Assembly, and Delegate Henson on a number of important veterans measures this past legislative session. And certainly, I want to thank a dear friend. And while during his brief remarks, he acknowledged that he never served in the military, I can't think of another more patriotic defender of freedom. I read about him before I got there. I saw it in action. John Sarbanes has been the defender of democracy on Capitol Hill for 18 years. Thank you very much, John, for your service. And to other distinguished guests, platform guests, fellow veterans, I want to thank our veterans who are here today and their families. I want to thank you for your service, for your sacrifice, for your courage. I want to thank you for defending, protecting, and preserving the nation that we all love. Veterans Day is a special day for all Americans, and for the roughly 30,000 active duty military and more than 350,000 veterans who call Maryland home. It's a day that we honor those men and women who served and are currently serving in our name. And while, as Colonel Rogers said, we take a moment to pay tribute to those veterans who lost their lives in service to a grateful nation, Veterans Day is a day to celebrate all veterans past, present, and I am reminded this morning, future veterans. Veterans Day celebrates the men and women of this nation. And today there are fewer and fewer Americans among that group, those who are willing to put on the military uniform and embrace the ethics, the ethos of duty, honor, and country. When I gave a Veterans Day speech a few years ago, the first Veterans Day speech that I gave as a member of Congress, in that speech I mentioned that there were 400,000 veterans that lived in the state of Maryland. Today I just stated that there are over 350,000, 50,000 fewer, but like they say, old soldiers never die, they only fade away. So the soldiers and veterans who served in Maryland, many have faded away and some have actually moved away. Because of the men and women who have served in uniform, our nation endures, and we remain the greatest nation in the world. Albeit an imperfect nation, we are the exemplar of democracy made possible by the men and women who've served our nation in uniform. For more than 2 centuries, this country that we love hasn't just endured, we have thrived. We have overcome challenges that would have broken a lesser nation. And no thanks to any one person or one group of people, but because, as we learned in the military, we're all one team. The 10th Cavalry Regiment, the original Buffalo Soldiers, were part of that team, as was Crispus Attucks, the first American and an African American who gave his life for American independence. The soldiers of the 54th Regiment of the Massachusetts Volunteers who fought against slavery during Civil War were part of that team. The Montford Point Marines, who were the first African Americans to serve in the Marine Corps, were part of that team. The 688 Central Postal Directory Battalion in the Women's Army Corps, an African American woman or battalion in World War II who ensured that mail got sent to the front lines. They are part of that team. The fighter and bomber pilots of the 332nd Fighter Group and the 477th Bombardment Group, known as the Tuskegee Airmen, who fought in World War II, are part of that team. Generals Colin Powell, Julius Becton, William Kip Ward, and Charles Q. Brown, who currently serves as the chairman of the Joint Chiefs, are part of that team. And I thank God every day that I had the privilege to be part of that team. In 1984, I graduated college and I received a commission as a second lieutenant in the United States Army. I served in the 4th Combat Aviation Brigade, 3rd Infantry Division in Europe. I served with some of the most patriotic Americans from all four corners of this great country, men and women who are defending the ideals of freedom and liberty, soldiers who were part of a very noble cause, the defense of our nation. 20 years later, in 2004, I received orders and deployed with the 353rd Civil Affairs Command to the war-torn country of Iraq. Our mission was to assist the rebuilding of a nation that had just been liberated from the shackles of a dictatorship. What amazed me most was the commitment and courage of our servicemen and women who left their families because our nation asked them to do so. And I was also amazed by a lesson that I learned, that no matter where people live, whether in Annapolis or in Anbar province, Iraq, mothers and fathers want the same things for their families: safe neighborhoods, good schools, affordable health care, and an opportunity to earn a living to raise a family. And whether here at home or abroad, that's what the men and women of the armed forces fight for: a better way of life in America and around the world. We believe in taking care of each other and in lifting each other up and leaving no one behind, and in meeting the collective responsibilities that we can only meet together. The security of our nation, the education of our children, the dignity of our seniors, and the equal rights for all of our citizens. And this includes the care and well-being of our veterans and their families. This is a responsibility for all of us, not just a few. We all must do our part. Our commitment to our veterans is not just lines in a budget. And it can't be about politics. It's not even really about policy. Our commitment to our veterans is a sacred covenant. That's exactly what we did in Maryland during my service as lieutenant governor. I had the privilege to work with veteran service organizations, health providers, our colleges and universities, and employers. We expanded veterans health services and made resources available to help veterans more easily access the benefits that they deserve. We kept a promise to help veterans returning from combat transition back into the community. their families, and civilian life. We expanded scholarship programs for veterans and their children and helped veteran-owned businesses access capital they need to grow their business and create jobs in our community. We brought together 21 Maryland community colleges and universities to sign the Maryland Campus Compact for student veterans to improve on-campus services for veteran students. As we look to the future, we need to do everything we can to take care of our veterans and their family members who sacrifice so much. We need to help our veterans realize the American dream that they fought for, to enlist our veterans in building a stronger America and a stronger Maryland. Our veterans have the skills that Maryland needs. Our economy is growing and creating jobs, but it's still too hard for too many veterans to find work, especially our younger veterans. With service members rejoining civilian life in the years ahead and looking for work, we need to step up our game at every stage of their careers. We need to enhance our transition assistance programs. Our veterans need more personalized assistance as they plan their careers. We need to provide the training they need to find that job or pursue that education or start that business. We need to continue to ensure that Maryland and local government prioritize hiring of veterans. And fortunately, we have a governor, a veteran, a former combat soldier, Wes Moore, who is committed to leaving no one behind. Governor Moore, working with the General Assembly, he led the effort to expand military retirement tax exemptions to keep our heroes home in Maryland. He also made a priority to allow members of the Maryland National Guard and their families who are eligible for TRICARE Reserve Select to receive additional reimbursements for health care and dental care. He led the charge for no-cost burials for veterans and their eligible family members in state veteran cemeteries. He created checkoff on income tax returns for the Maryland Veterans Trust Fund to provide grants for loans to veterans and their families. And our governor, working with our General Assembly, is taking steps to finally expedite the state licensing process for service members, veterans, and military spouses so that they can put their skills learned and earned in the military to good use in our economy. And we still have more to do. And you can count on me and those behind me to do our part, because we have a solemn obligation to all who serve, not just for the years that you're in uniform, but for the decades that follow. We must work together to pass our country to the next generation, stronger and safer and more respected in the world. So if anyone tries to tell you that our greatness has passed, that the America is in decline, you tell them this: just like the 20th century, the 21st century is going to be another great American century. We are a nation that freed millions and turned adversaries into allies. We are the Americans who defended the peace and turned back aggression. We are Americans who welcome our global responsibilities and our global leadership. The United States has been and will remain the one indispensable nation in world affairs. And you are the soldiers, the sailors, the airmen, the Marines, the guardians of the new Space Force, and the COSIs who kept us all and will keep us strong. So from one veteran to another, I thank you for your service to our great nation. May God bless you. May God bless all of our veterans, and may God bless the United States of America. Thank you very much.